"I don't know," Sam said wearily, pushing his hair back and unintentionally smearing mud over his brow. "It's such a bloody mess, it's impossible to tell for sure. Looks like one of the props came loose and some of the wall collapsed, but what made it happen could be any of a dozen things. How much of his hand has he lost?" They were in Sam's dugout, off the support trench. It was 3 steps down from the trench itself, a deep hole in the ground, duckboards on the floor, a sacking curtain over the door. It was typical of many officers' quarters, a narrow cot, a wooden chair, and 2 tables, both made out of boxes. On a makeshift shelf beside the bed there were several books, a little poetry, some Greek legend, a couple of novels. There was a gramophone on one of the boxes, and inside the box about 20 records, mostly classical piano music. Liszt and Chopin, a little Beethoven and some opera. Joseph knew them all by heart. There was also a photograph of Sam's brother, younger, his face pinched with ill health. 2 middle fingers, I think, Joseph replied. If it doesn't get infected, he might keep the rest. Sam had brewed tea in his Dixie can, which was carefully propped over a lighted candle. He had a packet of chocolate biscuits that had come out of a parcel from home. He poured the tea, half for Joseph, and divided the biscuits. "Thanks." Joseph took it and bit into one of the biscuits. It was crisp and sweet. It almost made up for the taste of the tea, made with brackish water and cooked in an all-purpose can. At least it was hot. "There was a new war correspondent there," he went on. "Arrogant man, scrubbed and ironed, hasn't the faintest idea what it's like in a sap. He had only been in one once himself, but he would never forget how he had felt. It had been all he could do to control himself from crying out as the walls seemed to close in on him. And from the sound of the dripping, the scurry of rodent feet, every shell he heard could be the one that caved in the entrance and buried them under the earth to suffocate. He was used to the tap-tap sounds of Germans doing the same. One could hear them in dugouts, even like this. In ways, the silence was worse. It could mean they were priming their fuses. The mines could blow any moment. Sam was watching him, his eyes questioning. There was no avoiding the truth. He thought it might have been self-inflicted, he admitted. Somebody's been telling him stories and he was full of it. Sam didn't answer. His curious, ironic face reflected the thoughts he refused to speak. Pity for men pushed beyond their limits, and the knowledge that this could have been exactly such a thing. Fear of punishment for the man, and that he would not be able to protect him. And weariness of the dirt, the exhaustion and the pain of it all. He smiled very slightly, a surprisingly sweet expression. "Thanks for trying." Joseph took a second chocolate biscuit and finished his tea. "It's not enough," he said, standing up. "Watkins wasn't going to charge him, but I'll make absolutely sure. Corliss looked a bit shaky to me. I'll go back to the field hospital and make sure he's all right." Sam nodded, gratitude in his eyes. Joseph smiled. "Maybe I'll get a decent cup of tea," he said lightly. "I've nothing better to do."